Hello everyone, this is Ron, and this is the Network Analyst tutorial. Basically, you have your network data set, your TomTom data. You're going to want to add that to your map. For simplicity's sake, I have a portion of the network, which is the city of Cleveland Heights, clipped so the processing time's cut down. But you're going to want to add your TomTom data to the map. And make a few modifications if you're going to go through with a Walkshed analysis or any type of walking analysis. If you open up your attribute table in your TomTom data, which my clip version is CHNet, Cleveland Heights Network, so I have the attribute table opened up, and if you look, your attribute table should look similar, and you have your it's in kilometers per hour, and you have your friction of distance as minutes, which works for, you can use this, create a network data set and basically analyze the travel time for a vehicle, because you already have your minutes, the amount of minutes it's going to take to traverse each section of the network. But if you're doing a Walkshed or a walkability analysis, you want to add walking minutes and walking time. So basically, to convert the kilometers or the shape length, which is, it's actually in feet, to convert the shape length from feet to miles, you're going to start adding fields to your TomTom data set. So add field, and the first one is going to be miles, and all this field is going to be is to convert your shape length from feet to miles, so that it's easier to work with. And you're going to want the field type to be a double. So name miles, type double, and then press OK. And then you're going to want to add another field called walking minutes. And also you're going to want that to be a double. Press OK. You're going to add another field called walking speed, and you don't necessarily have, this is going to be a double too, so that's also a double. You don't necessarily have to add the walking speed, but it's just a lot easier to remember, or if you know, for a lot of the formulas, the calculations and stuff that you'll be doing, you have to add in the numerical walking speed over and over. So I just do it this way. And then you want to calculate the fields, which I'm pretty sure you have to go into an editing session first. So if you don't already have your editor toolbar, you can go to Customize Toolbars and turn your editor on. Start an editing session and then start editing your TomTom data set. I recommend to have a copy saved, just kind of as like your first backup file, and then a copy just for the walkability or whatever other analysis might be done. So select that, select OK. You'll get an editing message. Some of the warnings, spatial reference does not match, ignore that, go to continue. For miles, go into field calculator, and that's going to be actually shape length divided by 5,280. That's how many feet are in a mile, obviously, and then that's going to calculate your miles for your friction of distance. So this first line segment is 0.007509 miles. So if I select that and double click, kind of zoom out a little bit, you'll see that it's a very short segment of a feature. Then if you go to walking minutes, actually you want to put in your walking speed first. So go to your field calculator for your walking speed, and that's just going to be 3.1. And if you go to Quora, there's also a tutorial that says this, ESRI tutorial. It's about 3.1 miles per hour for your walking speeds. So walking speed equals 3.1. Okay. I have this selected, so it only did the one. So you want clear selection. You don't want anything selected when you're doing a field calculation. Field calculator 3.1, and this should do it for the entire attribute field now. So it's calculating the records. And then you're going to want to do a field calculation with the walking minutes. So this one, it's basically your miles traversed. So the miles field that you calculated multiplied by 60. And make sure that these are in parentheses. So miles multiplied by 60. There's 60 minutes in an hour. Divide that by your walking speed, which is 3.1, and then you'll get your walking minutes, or how long it takes to walk at 3.1 miles an hour on each network segment. Press OK. So from here, that's pretty much it. That's all you have to do. So go to your editor, go to Save Edits. Now you're ready to create your network. So you can't work in the same kind of area when you're creating your network. So open our catalog, and then I have this network analyst, walkability, drive times, today's date, and Cleveland Heights geodatabase that I'm going to work off of, and I have a test that I was working on earlier just to make sure everything worked and went through. If you look in this network analyst walkability, I have some basically metadata where I have some of the formulas and stuff in here. Just kind of some stuff to go off of. Metadata standards. If you want to just copy those over when you guys create the network data set. So from here, you want a new feature data set, because a network data set has to be within a data set. So I'm going to name this CH for Cleveland Heights net work, and click next. And then it wants a projection, so I'm just going to click Ohio, type in Ohio, and then Ohio State Plane North, and then next. Vertical coordinate systems, and I'm just going to leave that blank because I won't be using one. Then finish. So I have my network data set, and then basically from here you go into customize extensions. Make sure network analyst is on. Then you're going to want to import that feature class that you just edited and saved. So input features, and I'm going to go into my test geodatabase because that's where I have it saved. I'm going to go into chnet because that's what I have it saved as, and this would be your TomTom data set. So go to your TomTom data set that you just added in the, you saved your edits, you added in your walking minutes, walking speed, and then add that. Output feature class, I'm going to name it the same thing, chnet. And OK. And that's basically going to be your network. So the reason that the network analyst extension needs to be on is because now you're going to create a new network data set. So this would be CH Cleveland Heights network data set. Click next, and then select the feature classes that will participate in this network data set. We're just going to use this linear network, but you can make an incredibly complex network data set where you can have stops, address points, and many other things. So that's selected. Click next. Model turns in the network. I do, just because I usually enable driving directions. You can get turn-by-turn directions, and that interacts with other extensions. I don't know what this is for the connectivity. I just accept the default connectivity settings. Elevation. that TomTom data has elevation of it's kind of surveyed elevations of each road, so it'll automatically add its F elevation and T elevation in the field. So you can just leave that default. Click next, and then here, this is important. This is basically going to be what the network uses when it runs its analysis. So the hierarchy, what type of road it is, you can remove that. You don't need that. The meters, you're not going to use meters as a cost of distance, so you can remove that. Miles, you added that as a cost. Make sure the units are miles. Minutes as a cost. Make sure that those are in the minutes. One way, that's already inherent in the data. That's going to come as a restriction. Road class, you don't need that. But what you do need are your walking minutes. So you go to add, name, type in walking minutes that you calculated as a cost, and then units. Minutes, and then data type double, and then use by default, and click OK. So now you have your walking minutes. Click next. Travel mode. This you just use the default. I don't really see a difference, but I just put in walking because that's what this is going to be used for. So type walking minutes, time attribute, distance attribute for friction and distance. You have your miles. U-turns are obviously allowed. It'd be different if you had a vehicle or you're doing some type of routing problem. Click next. Driving directions, I say yes. That's turn-by-turn directions. If you ever need to use them for, where you're going or planning your route, click next. Build service area index. Check this box because it just speeds up the processing. Click next. And then finally, you have your new network data set up. Click finish. And then it's created, and it'll ask if you want to build it. Click yes. For that TomTom data set, it's probably going to take maybe 3 or 4 hours for it to build. So you're going to just basically be sitting there processing it. That's why I clipped just the Cleveland Heights. So build it now, yes. And then it doesn't take long at all for just that city. So from here, you want to go back into ArcMap and make sure that you go to customize extensions and make sure that you have your network analyst turned on. Close this window, go back to customize, toolbars, turn on network analyst, and then basically if you wanted to just do a Walkshed analysis, what happened? Open up your network analyst window. Basically, you have to add the network data set before you can create the analysis. So go to add data. Go into the network that you created. Go into the network data set that you created. And you see how there's how this is like a line shape file. That's your symbol. Point shape file. Whenever you create a network data set, it's going to create the line file that you originally used for the network, and it's going to create junctions at every intersection. And then your network data set, it looks like this little graph here. So that's going to be always a network data set. Click add, and it's going to ask you if you want to add the features that participate in the network data set to the map. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to click yes just so you can see. So it's saying that the coordinate system's different. That's okay because it'll project, the software will project on the fly. So just click close, and then you see it has these junctions at all the intersections or all at the end of each line segment for the network. Those are just different features that it'll automatically create with the data set. And then so you can turn off the that, and it's going to take a little while to spin here, and then basically turn off the edges as well. And then I'm gonna make these. This is just the network data set, but I'm gonna make these gray. So this is map's a little easier to read, and I'll bring these down. So you have two networks there was the one that was originally processed, where when we first started, we added the minutes and walking speed and everything. This one's your actual network. So this is what you'll be using to create your Walkshed analysis. So go to Network Analyst, and then for a Walkshed, for an analysis that generates a polygon, it would be a service area. But then you have a routing analysis where you can basically have your it's a facility to incident report. So you could set up routes. Let's say you wanted to know you had a facility like an ambulance point. So your facility incident, your facility would be like a hospital, and then all your incidents would be ambulance calls. So you would want to see from that hospital how fast can an ambulance get to these addresses. So that'd be your facility to incident report. Or if you want to see from all the address points, you use the feature to point tool. You create address points from the parcels, and you want to see if your facility is like a rapid station or a bus stop or something like that, how long will it take to get to these bus stops, and it will measure the friction of distance or friction of time along the network. Closest facility, the same thing. If you want to know like the distance between two hospitals or something like that, you use the closest facility. Actually, if you want to find like the closest fast food place, you want to find the closest farmer's market or something like that, you have like, that's like you type in on Google Maps, where is the closest popcorn shop, and it's going to find the closest facility. Origin, destination, and cost matrix, that's probably the most complex of the network data set applications, and basically you have many inputs and many outputs. So you have many starting origins going to many destinations. It creates like a web. Vehicle routing problem, that's basically you have time windows. So you have like multiple you have multiple vehicles, multiple origins, garages, and then you have a time window basically of when those vehicles operate and when they have to be back and where they stop and things like that. It gets pretty complex. That's used a lot in like vehicle logistics and deliveries and stuff like that. And location allocation, I'm actually not really sure what this does. I haven't really used it. But we're going to use the service area for our Walkshed. So new service area. Then earlier I kind of just jumped over and I was like, okay, you want to open your network analyst window. That's something, once you add the data set, once you add the service area, make sure your network analyst window is open. So service area, and it's going to pop up with kind of these features. They're blank. You'll see right now 000. There's no features participating in this analysis as of yet. So this is your service area, your facilities, which are going to be your stops. Don't really have to worry about point barriers. That's something, if like you have some type of blockade or something like that, it's some type of restriction along the network, you can use that, and it'll use a scaled cost to, whether it should just go down the road or if it should go around it or which route it should take. So it's pretty useful. You just want to go to search and go to add locations. So search add locations, your network analyst tool, add locations, and in this case it will be the stops in Cleveland Heights, and we're going to find a 5-minute walking time from the stops in Cleveland Heights. So we'll just wait for it to process. The input network analysis layer is the one that we just created, the service area. Click service area. The sub layer, it would be facilities, because we want to know from the facilities or the bus stops how long will it take to traverse the network. 5 minutes to get to a stop, or who has access within 5 minutes to a stop. So input locations, I have a bus stop inventory for Cleveland Heights. This stuff might have changed. It's all like older from last year, like I think it's from April or something like that, or maybe June of last year, 2016. So basically, you don't have to worry about any of this. Your curb approach or the side of the vehicle. If you're doing a vehicular analysis, then you can also add in a curb approach, which is also in the data. So it'll account for turns and approaching sides of the vehicle and things like that. Attribute minutes, you don't have to worry about that. Attribute miles, attribute walking, you don't have to worry about any of that because you're going to use that within your solution for your service area. So snap to network, make sure that's turned on. And then snap offset 5 meters, that's fine. You can just leave that, but just make sure you turn on to snap to network. Click OK. And it'll load those 225 stops, which it'll obviously take much longer if you're doing an entire network or the entire county or whatever. So kind of wait for that to process, and then you'll see these are all the facilities that have been located in purple. Nothing's been unlocated. There's no errors. So from there, you're going to right click your service area. You can go to properties, polygon generation. It's going to generate overlapping polygons. So it's going to have basically 225 different polygons for each stop. So 5 minute Walkshed within each point, within each stop. So I go to not overlapping and allocate polygons to the closest facility, which will essentially it'll split the polygons kind of just like this to where they won't overlap, but then you can merge them into one, which I think that's the best way to go about it. So merge by break value in the polygon generation settings and the analysis settings. You have your walking minutes as minutes, default breaks 5. You can add any time, but we'll say 5 minute walking distance from each stop. You can even use time of the day of the week, which that doesn't really matter unless you have like other data associated with it, like live traffic feeds or live weather feeds or something like that. So away from the facility or towards the facility, it doesn't really matter, but we'll go towards the facility. And then click OK. And there's 2 ways. You can click solve to run the current analysis, or you can right click and go down to solve to run the analysis. So solve. And supposedly it generated 1 polygon. Let me see here. Actually, I'm just waiting. Actually, no. Okay, right click. 1 polygon. So that was something I did wrong with the polygon generation. I'm just going to go to overlapping and then try this again. There we go. Okay, that looks much better. And then from here, so basically, forget that step with the polygon generation. Just leave the default overlapping, but make sure in your analysis settings that you do have the walking time in minutes, and make sure that it's at 5 minutes. You can also use your regular minutes, which would be your vehicular driving minutes. You can also use a friction and distance, your miles field. So let's say, 2 miles from a stop or a quarter mile from a stop or whatever. So yeah, just leave your walking minutes, okay, and then you can dissolve this polygon. So like geoprocessing, dissolve it, and there you go. That's everybody who's within a 5 minute walking distance along the network of Cleveland Heights. And then basically it won't save this. You have to export all this data if you want it. So if you want to save you obviously don't want to save your facilities because you already have those. So that would be like the blue stops. I'm just gonna wait for it to load a little bit. So I have the bus stop inventory as the blue points. So that's all your stops. So you're not gonna want to export that, but you would want to export your polygons. So basically, I would go to geoprocessing. Dissolve the polygons and then export them, or vice versa. So I go to zoom to layer. Yeah, there we go. So those are turned on. So yeah, those are your 5 minute kind of walk sheds from all the bus stops. So if you want to right click, say data, export data, all features, and then I'll go back to the network, and I won't save it in the network, but I'll save it in that geodatabase as I guess Cleveland Heights walk distance, and then 5 minute, and then poly. See, that should work. Source data frame, output feature class, support all features, and then add them as a layer. So I should be able to turn this. I'll give it a second. It's kind of loading slow. I should be able to turn the surface area off, and then I have all these different polygons, and then from there I can go to geoprocessing. And you might be able to find a better way to do this, but right now I think this is the best way. And then input features, have your walking distance, your 5 minute poly, and then same thing. Go back into the network, walking distance, 5 minute poly, and then dissolve, and save. Okay, and that looks that actually looks a lot better. So double click on this. That was wrong. Right click, properties, symbology, source, display, and then set the transparency to like 50%. Okay, and then so this is your routes in the bright green. This is your network in the light gray. The lighter kind of olive green, that's your 5 minute walk sheds. And then turn on the turn on the base map, and kind of see what the final product is. So yeah, you get a pretty good sense of who's within 5 minute walking distance of a route. So it's kind of like a beginner's guide to your network analyst. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I don't mind. So let me know. Thank you.